Hi, I hope you can see me and hear me clearly. Today, I want to go with you through some words that ChatGPT will recommend us. So, I will ask ChatGPT what the most difficult words to pronounce are for people who are learning English, like you. So, and then we're gonna go through them and hopefully learn some interesting aspects of pronunciation that might help us in other contexts. So, what's interesting here is that you can focus on what's challenging for you. So, let's get started. I'm gonna start sharing my screen, and then here you can see me, and then I'm gonna ask ChatGPT for, let's say, 10 most difficult words. I'm gonna say business words to narrow it down and make it more specific, to pronounce for learners. I'm gonna go for B1 learners of English. English. Um, Period. Only bullet points, because sometimes then ChatGPT writes whole texts or bullet points with texts, and I just need bullet points here. Ooh, so here we have interesting words. The first one is entrepreneurship. I understand why this one is difficult. So at the beginning, we have an important syllable that will help us start the word, and this is o. O. It's a French word. In English, we start with o, like on, or when you say not, but here it's on, entrepreneurship, on. And then the other difficult word is entrepreneur, no, no. This is like bird or girl. It's a difficult sound in English. You have to round your lips. Uh, it's not really an oo and it's not an e. It's in between. So the lips are rounded but quite open. And these are the two most important sounds here. Entrepreneurship, 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 entrepreneurship. He has a great entrepreneurship. This means he or she has a lot of initiative, likes starting projects and thinking about the problems and solving them, right? They have a great entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. They're motivated, they work hard in their projects, in their group work. It's a great word. Entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. Let's see if we have any other. Oh, and look, the what is it? The sixth word, if I'm not mistaken, is also entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. So yes, I understand why this one is difficult. Entrepreneur, but it's the same, right? Entrepreneur, entrepreneurship, entrepreneur, entrepreneurship, entrepreneur, entrepreneurship. Right. Zinger, synergy, synergy. I don't really know what could be difficult here. So if you find this word difficult, you can totally leave a comment and tell me, and then we can talk about it. But I don't see the difficulty. I think this list of words is interesting. Let's go through it. Quota, quota. I see why this one is difficult. So quo has two u and then o and then u again, right? So it's quota. If you speak German, this Q might be a bit difficult. You might be tempted to say like quota or something. It's quota. So we have u, then the lips are very almost closed, very rounded, but almost closed. Ooh, and then we open up. Whoa, and then we close it a little again. So at the beginning they're very closed. Then we open for the oh, and then we close them, but not that much. We close them a little. Quo, whoa, quota, quota. It's like when you say wow, wow, or wow, right? We we start closed, we open the lips, and then we close them again. Whoa, ow, wow, wow, quota, quota, quota. Um, yeah, amortization. I think here what's important is to spot the main stress, amortization, zation, zation, and then we have moreization, moreization, amortization, amortization. That's the main stressization, amortization. Recession, recession, recession. So here we have two s sounds. Recession, recession. Now that's not true. We have s and then sh. Recession, recession, recession. Logistics, logistics. Logistics might be difficult if your language doesn't have too many consonants together, because here we have just ticks, right? So it depends on what language you speak, which parts will be difficult. The j might be a challenge. So j. We know j can be sometimes g and sometimes j. Here it's j. Logistic, logic, logic, logistics, logistics. And then at the end we pronounce everything. So if in your language this is difficult for you because in your language you don't have this, for example in Italian this would be a difficult word. If you speak Italian, then practice this part slowly at first and then a bit faster. Just ticks, logistics, sticks, right? There are a lot of consonants all together. Logistics, sticks, and then logistics. I like your idea, but we have to figure out the logistics. We have to figure out the logistics still. We have to still figure out the logistics, right? So it's always good to create some sentences, some imaginary sentences to practice the words. We still have to figure out the logistics. Logistics, that's a good one. So do we need all of them? I think liability is a good one. This is a good word and we use it quite often in the business world. Liability. So again, the lie, we have one I, that's I, lie, and then bility. We have all the others are I, 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 but then I. Liability, 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 liability. That's the noun, liability. For example, this is an important section in a contract, liability. Then we have the adjective, who is liable. For example, in the contract, you always set who is liable for what. Again, liable means if something happens, if there is a mistake, if there is a problem, if there is an accident. For example, if there is an accident in the workplace, who is liable? If the company goes bankrupt, I mean, usually, hopefully these things don't happen, right? So liability is a thing that in the best cases you don't have to talk about, but in the contracts, usually it's one of the points, right? But when it comes to actual liability, it's not a nice conversation to have, but sometimes necessary. And the dividend, I don't imagine. What happens to me with ChatGPT is I understand entrepreneurship and logistics, and some I don't understand what's the difficulty, to be honest. So let's ask, what is the difficulty? Right? And maybe ChatGPT can tell us what might be challenging, for example, with dividend. Unintuitive pronunciation of D and end. Okay, dividend. How do you pronounce this word? Have you ever pronounced it differently? Maybe you can help me. I understand how it could have been divide, because when you divide something, then it's divide, and here it's dividend, divide, and here it's dividend. I understand that one for sure. Liability, we got it correctly. So the first one is I, and the other one is il, like it, I, it. Um, yeah, okay. I think we went to the other ones. Logistics, uncommon pronunciation of st and j, for sure the j. So okay, that's it. My feedback would be, yeah, the majority of the words were good. Some of them were not too relevant words, right? So my takeaway, so what I would like you to take away is the pronunciation of entrepreneurship or entrepreneur, which is a word you can avoid, but it's also good to know how to pronounce it. Logistics, for sure. Logistics is a word that you cannot avoid. When you need it, it's good to know how to pronounce it. Logistics. And these are the two most interesting words, I would say. Some of the other words, like quota, are not too frequent, right? So logistics, entrepreneurship, liability, and dividend, these are a bit more formal, but for sure are important. And then logistics, for sure. And then some of the other words, I think, are a bit too specific, and we don't need them all the time. Anyway, that was it. That was my idea. Thanks, ChatGPT, I guess. And then if you liked it, yeah, tell me how you felt it. How, if this was useful, and if you liked it. That was it on my side. Cheers, Uriel. So I'm gonna whoop.